Hey everyone, welcome back to CoachTown. This is the second part of Spring Boot with NoSQL Firebase Firestore Cloud Database. I would really recommend you to watch the first video before watching this video. In the previous video, we learned how to link a Spring Boot project with Firebase project and also perform CRUD operations with NoSQL Firestore database. In this video, we will learn about query operators in Firestore. These are the query operators which we will be implementing in this video. So let's get started. When compared to previous video, I've included few more fields in the user detail, that is roles, salary, and currency. This will help us to do more query operations using Firestore. So now let's go to user service. So this is the previous video where we will do the CRUD operations, that is create, read, update, and delete. In this, we will start with find by email ID. Find by email ID uses the first query operator, that is where equal to. Along with where equal to, we also have where not equal to. But first, let's focus on where equal to. Before going into the Firestore database, we will be validating whether the email is null or it is blank. If it is null or if it is blank, then we will be throwing the runtime exception. This can be improvised with any other custom exception, but for now, I will leave as runtime exception. So once we validate that email is valid, we will then use this firestore.collection users. If you remember, users is our collection name, where equal to email ID and email. So this is the first query operator. Field name is email ID. This is the email ID from the user DTO and the value. So this is the query which we need to write. This will fetch the user based on the email ID which we pass. So I've created a getUsersList method. So in this is a query which we created at the top. That is, this is the query where we are using this where equal to and pass it inside this getUsersList. And then we perform this operation. So once we get the query document snapshot, I'm adding it into the object. Your object is nothing but our user class. You can add any other class also, like user DTO, but we should make sure that the column names or the field names will be matching whatever there in the Firestore database. Once we map the users, then we'll be adding all the users which we get inside this query document snapshot. So this can be one documents or many documents or either empty. So then we are returning this users list. So once we get the users list, so this users will consist of the users where the email ID will be matching with whatever we have passed. It will be matching with the email ID, whatever we have passed. So then I'm creating this user DTO, which will return us the users list. So now let's check this example. We're jumping into Postman. I've already created the users to save the time. If you see here, we have 3 users, Max, Nico, and Sergio. So here, consider this email ID, which I've used here. So when we enter max@gmail.com, we should be able to fetch only this user. So now let's go to our Postman. So here, I will be entering the email ID as required. Now let's click on the send button. As expected, we get the only user, which is max@gmail.com from our database. So now let's try for other user. I will pass serge@gmail.com. We should be able to fetch only one user. Now let's try for any invalid user. This will be empty. So this is where equal to query operator. Now let's try where not equal to query operator. So now we should get all the other users apart from the email which we pass here. If I pass Max, I should be able to get other 2 users that we have in our database. I will repeat. if I pass Max, I should be able to get Nico and Sergio, but not Max. Now let's try this. Let's restart this application. The application has started. I should be able to get 2 users apart from max@gmail.com. One is Nico and the other one is Sergio. So this is working as expected. So this is where equal to and where not equal to. Hope this is clear. So now let's go into our find salary. In find salary, we will be learning multiple query operators. Now let's start with where less than, and here this is the same Firestore collection where less than. So now if I enter the value here, this query should return all the users whose salary is less than the given amount. I repeat, it returns all the user DTO whose salary is lesser than the given amount. So if I give 10,000, it should return all the salary users DTO which is less than 10,000. Now let's try this. So before going into Postman again, let's see the controller class of this. If you see, I'm using the get mapping. The path is find salary, and I've used the request param where I'm passing double salary. So now let's go to Postman. Let's rerun the application. Now let's go to Postman. This should return all the user DTO whose salary is lesser than the given amount. Not equal to, but it should be lesser than that. Let's try. Exactly. We get one user as expected. That is, we got gmail.com. The salary is 8,000. If you notice, even though we have 10,000 in our database, it didn't return that. That is, if you notice here, for Sergio, the salary is 10,000, but still it didn't return because it is fetching where salary is lesser than. If you want to fetch the exact amount also, you should use one more query operator, that is where lesser than or equal to. Now let's rerun this application and try with the same amount, that is 10,000. Now as per our data, we should be able to fetch 2 users. Let's see that. Yes, as expected, we get 2 users. One is Sergio and another one is the old record, that is Nico. So this is where less than and where less than or equal to query operators. Now let's try where greater than. As the name suggests, it will return the user DTO whose salary is greater than the given amount. So there is only one user whose salary is greater than 10,000. So we should be able to get this record from our database. That is max@gmail.com. Similarly, there is one more query operator, that is where greater than or equal to, which means we will get the user DTO which is greater than or equal to our salary. Let's rerun the application. I'll change the value to 15,000 here. We should be able to still get the user DTO. So this is where less than, where greater than, where less than or equal to, and where greater than or equal to. So first we form a query and then we pass the query into our user list, this method. So now we have completed around 6 query operators. Now let's try few more. That is where array contains. So let's say if I pass roles user, I will be getting this user, not this and this. I should be retrieving 2 users from our database. So where array contains. So even if there are multiple values inside these roles, this should return because the query operator which we are using is where array contains. So now let's go to its controller class. It's the same as the earlier one where you are using this get mapping, and I'm passing the role and I'm returning the response entity.ok. Here OK is status 200. Let's rerun the application and go to Postman. So here we are finding the individual role. So this should return all the users DTO from our database which contains roles user inside its role array. Let's test this. We should be getting 2 values. One is Sergio because we have roles user, And the next one is max, where where the array contains roles users. If I pass admin, I should get only one user, that is max. Let's say if I need one more, that is array operations, I'll be getting nico@gmail.com. Let's say if I pass any invalid value, this should return empty. Hope this is clear. Now let's see how to fetch with multiple. For that, I've created a one more method here. Find user by multiple roles. This is a controller class. And here, if you notice, I'm accepting a list of roles instead of a single string. Now let's go inside our service method. So if you see here, earlier we were using where array contains. Here we are using where array contains any. So if we pass any, we should pass a list of values here. I'll repeat, in the earlier it was just where array contains and the value was a string. Now we are using where array contains any, and here it will be a list of string. So we can pass multiple roles in this example, and then we can get the expected value. Let's try that. So here I'm passing roles admin and roles user. So I should be getting all the users who have this details. I get two users, one is Sergio and another one is Max. If I pass operations, we'll be getting the extra role operations and not the role user which we were having earlier. Now let's try for all the three values. So we will be getting all the three users. So by this, we can pass multiple roles or multiple fields which you want as shown here. So this is where array contains and where array contains any. This is the same flow. To prevent the duplicate code of lines, I've created this single method, get users list. It should be doing the same operation as explained earlier. So now we are at the last two query operators using Firestore, that is where in and where not in. So let's understand what where in does. So if you notice here, as similar to above examples, I will be creating a query, and here I'm accepting a list of names. So username is not a array here, it's a single field. That is, it is an individual field as I've shown here. It will give us the users DTO if the names which we pass here are existing in our database. It is not an individual name, it can be a list of names. So whatever names we pass in this list, if it matches in our database, it returns the matching user DTOs. Now let's go back to our Firebase project. Now let's think that I pass Sergio and Max. I should be able to get only these two users. So that is where in username matches with our list of names. Let's go to our Postman. Let's pass these two names and we will be getting the expected two user DTOs. Similar to this, we have where not in, which does exactly the opposite. So it returns all the DTO which is not matching with our given name. Let's rerun this application. Now I should get only a one user, that is Nico. Try that. As expected, we get only one user. Thank you for watching. This is Query Operators in Firestore. Stay tuned for more videos on Spring Boot with Firebase.